spending some time with us today.
And I'm Jake. Wherever you are right now, maybe at home, traveling, studying, or taking a walk, we hope you can relax and enjoy this conversation.
Today, we're talking about something that affects almost every part of our lives, even though we cannot see it.
We're talking about mindset, the way we think about ourselves, our problems, our abilities, and the things that happen around us.
And this is going to be especially useful for B1 to B2 English learners, because we'll explore the topic through clear, natural conversation.
So you can practice listening while also thinking about your own life. And remember, you don't need to understand every single word.
Exactly. Follow the general meaning, notice useful expressions, and give yourself time to become comfortable with natural English.
Before we go deeper, Sophia, I think we should give everyone a question to think about.
I agree. Here is today's question. When something goes wrong in your life, what is the first thing you usually tell yourself?
That is a good question, because sometimes our first thought is not very kind.
Definitely. Maybe you make a mistake and immediately think, I'm terrible at this.
Or something difficult happens and you think, of course this happened to me, nothing ever works.
But another person can experience the same problem and think, okay, this is difficult, but what can I do now?
The situation may be almost the same, but the way those two people respond to it is completely different.
And that difference is connected to mindset.
So, Sophia, how would you explain mindset in simple English?
I would say mindset is your usual way of thinking. It includes the beliefs and attitudes you have about yourself and about life.
So, it is almost like a pair of glasses that we wear when we look at the world.
I like that example. Imagine two people looking outside on a rainy morning. One person says, "What a terrible day."
And the other person says, "Great, I finally have an excuse to stay inside with coffee."
Exactly. Same rain, different mindset.
Although, if I forget my umbrella, my positive mindset becomes much more difficult.
That's understandable. A good mindset doesn't mean you have to enjoy being completely wet.
And I think that is an important point. Sometimes people misunderstand positive thinking.
Yes, having a healthy mindset does not mean pretending that everything is wonderful.
You can admit that something is painful, frustrating, or disappointing.
But instead of staying trapped in that feeling, you ask yourself what you can learn, change, or do differently.
For example, imagine that you have a job interview and it goes badly.
You feel nervous, you forget some words, and afterward the company tells you that they chose someone else.
One possible reaction is, I failed. I'm just bad at interviews.
And if you strongly believe that thought, you might avoid applying for another job because you expect the same result.
But there is another way to look at it. You could say, that interview didn't go well, but now I know what I need to practice.
Maybe you prepare better answers. Maybe you practice speaking with a friend. Maybe you learn how to control your nerves.
The bad interview has not magically become a good experience.
Right. You are simply using the experience instead of allowing the experience to define you.
I really like that distinction.
And our mindset often develops slowly. We learn ways of thinking from our experiences, our families, school, friends, and even the culture around us.
Which means some thoughts can feel completely true simply because we have repeated them for years.
Exactly. For example, when I was younger, I used to believe that I was terrible at anything involving numbers.
Really?
Yes. If I saw a difficult math problem, my brain almost immediately said, no, this is not for me.
Did something happen that made you believe that?
I think it started at school. I struggled with math for a while, and some classmates understood it much faster than I did.
So you compared yourself with them?
Constantly. And instead of thinking, they understand it faster, I started thinking, they are good at math and I am bad at math.
Those sentences sound similar, but they actually have very different meanings.
They do. One describes a situation at that moment. The other turns the situation into an identity.
I don't understand this yet is very different from I'm a person who cannot understand this.
Exactly. Years later, I noticed that I was still carrying that old belief around.
Even when you weren't in school anymore?
Yes. If something involved numbers, I became nervous before I even tried it.
That shows how powerful mindset can be. Your belief starts influencing your behavior.
And then your behavior can make the belief feel even more true. For example, you think you're bad at something, so you avoid practicing it.
Then, because you don't practice, you don't improve. And because you don't improve, you say, see, I knew I was bad at this.
Exactly. It becomes a cycle. I think English learners can experience the same thing.
Absolutely. Someone makes a few mistakes while speaking and starts thinking, my English is terrible.
Then they become afraid to speak because they don't want to make more mistakes. But because they speak less, they lose opportunities to practice.
And suddenly the real problem is not their English level. The problem is that fear has changed their behavior.
This is why one small change in language can be useful. Instead of saying, I can't speak English, try saying, I can't speak English the way I want to yet.
That little word yet changes the whole feeling.
It leaves the door open.
It says, I'm not there now, but improvement is possible.
And that connects to an idea called a growth mindset.
A growth mindset means believing that your abilities can develop through learning, practice, experience, and effort.
It doesn't mean believing you can become perfect at everything.
Which is good news because I have been trying to become a professional dancer for about 0 years.
Jake, I think 0 years of practice might be part of the problem.
That's possible. I'll investigate it.
But seriously, growth mindset is not about telling yourself that everything is easy.
It is about understanding that where you are today does not